Hey, hi everybody. I hope everyone is doing awesome and great. And I know that we are back after a long time with a video. This is Amlan Panigrahi from NUA, who happens to be the co founder and admin of the community. And today we'll be discussing about building my AI and gaming rig Sharingan. This is something which I built a year back with my friend Saurabh Rudra aka Nova, and we had so much fun building it. And when it came to fruition, boy oh boy, it was such a beast, and it will still remain as a beast for the next 5 to 6 years, I guess. So, without much further ado, let's discuss about what's going to happen in this video. And let me also share with you that there is a blog as well. If you want to go through it, you can find that in the description. So it has everything detailed, A to Z, whatever we'll be discussing in this video. Of course, there will be some other key components in addition to the blog in this video as well. So yeah, first of all, what we'll be learning. So one, you will be learning about the basics of DIY, do it yourself PC building. If you are an AI researcher, and especially if you are a gamer, then definitely will benefit a lot watching this video. So there is a balance of both. So this is like a rig which is multi-purpose both for research and gaming. Well, coming to stitching your components together, that is assembling your rig, all you need is a magnetic flathead and star-shaped screwdriver, and that should be more than enough. And quickly going through the components that we considered, as per the budget we had, which is 1.5 to 6 lakhs. First, we'll be starting with motherboard. And we were only considering mid-range motherboards given our budget. That's what we planned. And we were conflicted a lot, both me and Nova, as to which one would be the perfect Attaboy. So we just referred an amazing video by Gamers Nexus from Steve, and as per his advice, there are a specific set of mid-range motherboards which have a balance of design and thermals, how it is engineered, how it is designed. Those things are very crucial when you want to decide to buy a perfect motherboard. So we were conflicted with two options out of what was suggested by Steve, and it was the B550 edition from Aorus, which is the B550 Pro SE gaming Wi-Fi, and the Asus B550 gaming motherboard as well. And if we look at them side by side, both of them are quite similar. The only difference is the Aorus motherboard has an inbuilt Wi-Fi module, which is an added advantage given the budget, given the price. It's the same for Asus as well. Additionally, you're getting the inbuilt Wi-Fi module. So why should I I am a conjuice guy, so why should I spend extra on an external Wi-Fi adapter? Not needed, right? And I'm also lazy, so yeah, I had my answer. This is an awesome motherboard, the B550 Pro SE by Aorus. It has everything that you need. The IO panel is so perfect. In fact, I am looking at my rig right now and I'm saying this. You have Thunderbolt ports, the USB 3.2 Type C port, and you have the USB 3.2 ports as well. You have 3.0 ports, HDMI, DVI, all those things are there. I won't be talking about that, but the crucial ones, the availability of multi PCI slots, so that like I have a plan to make a multi GPU setup in the future. So yeah, this motherboard has that, and like the support for PCI Gen 4 SSDs, that is also there. Plus like there are SATA ports as well, the traditional SATA ports of course, but they are not bad. If you just fit in the SSDs, state of the art SSDs, they will just function as good as your PCI Gen 4 SSDs, M.2 SSDs, given we are not considering specific use cases. So let me tell you one important thing. The B550 Pro AC is an AMD Ryzen motherboard. Like it has AM3 socket, and yeah, we will be discussing about which AMD Ryzen processor we considered, and like why not the competition, what was the market scenario back then. The processor, right? So like this was again a tough choice to make. How do we put this? So the market scenario back then in 2020, I purchased in December 2020 this processor. So Intel Alder Lake wasn't there, and back then Intel processors weren't that great. AMD was on the top of the race, so definitely the option was to go for Ryzen. And yet again, 2020 November, I guess, was the month when they revealed the Ryzen Zen 3 motherboards. So a good a good motherboard as per our budget, in the option was the Ryzen 5 5600X. And the plus point about Zen 3 processors from AMD are that like they have definitely the latest I mean, at the time of the release they had that like the latest firmware, the software, the smart memory feature, and of course the single threaded performance, which AMD was not good at, and Intel was the king. Like AMD proved that they can also give a tough competition to Intel in single threaded performance as well. So yeah, Ryzen Zen 3 processors like were a huge leap over their predecessors. So yeah, here was the conflict. Conflict was like we had a budget of 25k, all right? So either go for Ryzen 7 3700X or go for the Ryzen 5 5600X. Okay, the Ryzen 7 3700X, let me tell you friends, is the older architecture CPU, right? It's Zen 2 Plus. I guess the release was around somewhere around early 2020, late 2019. Okay, of course, like you will argue, I mean, you will definitely suggest at first hand that just go for 5600X, but let me tell you that my requirements were very heavy duty, and I wanted more raw power. If we compare these two processors, 3700X has, it's an octa-core processor, right? 8 cores equivalent to 16 threads. And 5600X, even though it has better single threaded performance, it's a hexa-core processor, which means at most you have 12 threads, right? So when it comes to raw power, 3700X is a better option. And if we talk about heavy duty industrial applications, research applications, 3700X would be the better option. But for gaming, you have the answer, it's 5600X, guys. But like I told you, right, we are trying to build a balanced rig which is both for AI and gaming. So we'll get to know that, when we will be running benchmarks, like in the AI benchmarks, you'll get to know that why 3700X is the better option. Of course, like I have already said, better raw power, more threads. So for example, when you are using data loader for ETL tasks, there will be, so a lot of strain is on the CPU. So data is loaded onto GPU, right? So the primary responsibility for loading the data is like allocated to CPU. So that's where you will feel the difference. Few advices, tips and suggestions that we can provide you is, do not blindly go for getting higher memory, like say 64 GB all at once, when your use case doesn't demand that much. Because when you will be spending a lot on 64 GB of RAM, and all you'll be doing is just playing an esports game, you won't get that much advantage. But if you just go for a 16 GB RAM, that should be enough, more than enough in fact. So the rest of the budget you can spend on something else. So take this as a good advice, and people often tend to do this. I have seen this happening amongst in the community a lot. So clock cycle and the right balance of memory are two critical factors as per your budget, which RAM you want to buy. So what we purchased was the like Kingston HyperX Fury RAM. Why? Looks, guys, the design, the RGB, of course, the fancy eye candy RGB, and the price. That's it. And one important aspect, one important point to consider is, if you want to buy say 16 GB of RAM, make sure that you buy two memory sticks of 8 GB each, so that you will be able to utilize the dual band, right, the dual inline memory module. So you can take advantage of the DIMM slots. The most legendary and crucial component in your PC, the GPU, the GPU beast. Okay, I will pause for a moment there, because we know, both you and I know how the market situation is. And I would say that I was very lucky to get an RTX 3080 Founders Edition from Nvidia India's official distributor, RP Tech. No, I didn't get it for a scalper price. I got it at official price, that is 60,000 INR. And that was in my cards. I planned for it. So why a 3080? Because, well, there is no justification that is needed, right? It has like around 10k CUDA cores. Let's see, not 10k. Oh, sorry. There are two versions, right? Like there's a 10 GB variant and there is a 12 GB variant. I purchased the 10 GB variant. So like 12 GB variant was like not available at that moment, when I 1 year back. So like the Ampere GPUs, definitely the architecture that comes packed with them, plus the the 8 nanometer transistors, when we compare the RTX 3080 with RTX 2080, so on one hand, like on the successor you have around 8k CUDA cores. In the predecessor you have, if I am correct, roughly 3k CUDA cores. So you see the difference, right? And then coming to your tensor cores, I know you will argue here, the comparison is like in 3080 it's 272 and in 2080 it's 368. And the ray tracing cores, of course, are much more in 3080 it's 68, and it's 46 for 2080. And of course, like 8 GB VRAM, here it's 10 GB VRAM, 2 GB reference. That makes a lot of difference. So the number of tensor cores are definitely lesser in 3080, but let me tell you that the difference between Ampere and Turing is significant. On one hand you have 12 nanometer micro architecture, and on the other hand you have 8 nanometer micro architecture. So pretty much you can figure out, right, which will accommodate more number of transistors, and the more number of transistors you have, the better is the performance. So of course there are a lot more factors adding in, like better memory, much more CUDA cores. So you do get a very good throughput on AI. Yeah, one important aspect is hey Amlan, why Nvidia, why not AMD, when AMD also is catching up with Nvidia on gaming performance benchmarks. So the reason is, guys, with Nvidia GPUs, like you do get a lot of software options for content creation, for research and development. The ecosystem that they have is very matured and it's developing at an exponential scale. So that's the primary reason why I went with Nvidia. But yeah, definitely if one is just concerned about gaming, they can consider AMD. So no doubt you do get like ray tracing in both the brands. It's completely up to your use case. Yeah, like I said, we are building an AI and gaming rig, and you know how Nvidia is making huge progress in AI. So yeah, the answer is there. Now the coming to storage, guys, that is something that we should plan very efficiently. So like, how many operating systems you want to install, what you will be doing, what is your use case. These things will be very, very critical to decide what kind of budget you'll be allocating for buying SSDs and SSDs. So I'll just share my scenario. So I had in mind to install Ubuntu and Windows, both Windows for gaming, Ubuntu for development. So for either, it's recommended to have separate storage units specifically. So like I purchased Crucial BX 500. Sorry about that. So Crucial BX 500 and what was that? Like I had an old WD Green SSD of 120 GB. The Crucial BX 500, as the name suggests, a 500 GB SSD. So WD Green equals to Ubuntu, and the Crucial equals to Windows. So also I purchased an additional hard disk like 1 TB. That would be a Seagate Barracuda 7200 RPM. It's a decent, got it for a decent price. So these are the ones that I purchased. I would say like I missed out on that, right? Like I said that we'll be talking about the 1 TB HSD, right? So initially I thought I'll be using it for Windows. Maybe, hey, I will be playing more games and I'll be taking more games there. But yeah, that was not the case. Take this as advice. I use that 1 TB SSD for Ubuntu instead, because when I started working with Dockers and extensively with deep learning, so the requirements skyrocketed. I needed more amount of space. 120 GB did not simply cut it. So one Docker image, let's say PyTorch Docker image that you are working with is like 14 GB. So you can pretty much understand when you want to work with multiple Docker images, you need a good amount of space. When we will be working with a lot of data sets, huge data sets, space is very, very essential. So that's why, the HDD came of huge significance, and that's how things turned out to be. So you have a list of components ready, and you want to determine how much wattage will be required to be supplied to your rig. One good way to do that, to estimate that, would be there is a tool, online tool from Outer Vision. Link is in the description and also in the blog. You can check, you can just list all the components that you are planning to purchase. You can put them as the options, and it will give you an estimated power draw, how much power is supplied. In our case, it was 5. To be on the safer side, we went ahead with 750 watts, just in case, to be more future proof, right? So which PSU we purchased? Again, both me and Nova are a fan of Corsair when it comes to power supply units, and the RMX series were something to consider. So we were thinking to buy Corsair RM 750X. However, it was out of stock from all the retail stores, and also we had to wait, and the market situation was not good. So in local stores, we had an option that was like not local stores, but the retail stores, the trusted retail store that online retail store we are purchasing from. ADATA was available, the ADATA XPG core reactor. I'll get to that, why ADATA. So it was the best alternative we could come up with. So the XPG core reactor, is just a rebrand of Seasonic power supply units. So Seasonic has state of the art PSUs for both B2B and B2C segments, and they are in the global market they are a top dog, but unfortunately in India you won't be able to find the level of support and availability for the same in that scale. So of course, what would you do? You go for something that is rebranded. So you have something, the similar technology, right? So the similar components, the modularity, the 12V rails. So definitely XPG core reactor was a good option. Price was also good. So it seemed to be a fair choice for us, and we went ahead with it. So cabinet and cooling. Again, one of the critical aspects of rig building. You do want to tone down the temperature of your rig. You do not want it to become a volcano. So it's very important to consider what type of cabinet you have, there is proper airflow or not, how it is designed, how it is engineered to house various types of components, what type of coolers you need, just air or maybe liquid AIOs. So these contribute to a huge factor in cooling down your rig. And I would say that we did a lot of research, both me and Nova, to find the best possible cabinet as per our budget. We were looking for mid tower ones. So for mid tower ones, one good reference you can have is from Gamers Nexus. Once again, so in this video, Steve suggests that Lian Li Lancool 2 is something which dominates in thermals and design. So we had two options: Lian Li Lancool 2 mesh front and the part mesh design one. So the mesh front, of course, is much better in thermals and airflow. However, the non-mesh front, according to me, which I believe, as in the part mesh one, has better design thanks to its inbuilt RGB front LEDs. So it makes it look so cool that it's jaw dropping. Some would definitely find the mesh front as the better one, but it's completely your personal choice. However, when it comes to proper airflow and thermals, it's not as good as the mesh front one, but definitely it's decent. So commendable, this design by Lian Li team, where they have separated out uh, the places, the areas for placing the components effectively with appropriate borders. For example, there is a separate sector for SMPS which you just drop it down, and it is so easy to it's so easy to assemble the components inside the cabinet. It's very flexible. You do not need screws to fit the components. All you need is, it has dual side panels, both of them being the fiber panels, transparent fiber panels. So you can open from either end and hook your components. In fact, for SMPS, there is a separate way to do that. I simply love that so much. And when you just open the either ends, it feels like you just opened a Ferrari car, doors of a Ferrari car. So this is definitely an awesome cabinet that we purchased. And coming to the fans, the cabinet comes with two front 140 fans. We didn't go ahead with that because we thought that industry standard, reviewer recommended ones will be better. So we went ahead with Arctic coolers, as in Arctic fans, and Arctic and deep cool fans. So 3 cross 120 fans from Deepcool, RGB fans, like set of 3, pack of 3 that comes. It has a very good price. In fact, you can purchase it. The ring light design, right? Not ring light, I mean to say the ring architecture makes it look so cool and sturdy. In fact, for the fan, it's definitely a must buy. And the RGB looks definitely great with that. So the Arctic ones are also very good. Like they are good in the fans department. So those were the non-GB versions, because already there are RGB. There is in-house RGB LED available in the front, so there was no need of buying RGB fans. So this was what we came up with. We thought would be enough. In fact, AIO was something we did not require, because AMD, like I have mentioned earlier, the Ryzen 7 3700X comes preloaded with Wraith Prism cooler, and it's very different. I mean, very good and industry standard. I would say it's enough, but definitely going for an AIO would also be a plus.
Do ya? It's good to see you, cabron. Now sit down and tell me what's got your shorts in a knot.
Hands! Keep her steady!
Hold tight, V! Mierda! Perdón! Got you, assholes! V! Aim for the driver! Chingado!
Little guy!
Falling! Well, hurry your
That's cheating! You guys should have seen that. It was this weird, blobby thing. Not falling for this again. Die, blobby thing!
I am not familiar with this, Bobby.
Oh, it's like popping a zit!
He told us to go! He'll be fine!
Stay back!
Don't die! Gamora will have my head! What are you waiting for? Mother of Scott! Move!
Are you kidding me?
Man, that was too close! You okay, Groot?
Did you hear that? Did they get you? No? Good. Hear that? It's a pack. Just what we need. A draw. We're lucky the mutants hate each other as much as they hate us. I really don't get why this zone is off limits to stalkers. The radiation and beasts are nothing special. Stop. The pack is here. So, do we turn this place into Thermopylae? Or do we... It's on! I'll cover you! One more! Help! Thanks! Got another one! One more! We sure gave them hell. Oh, is this why the zone is off limits?
Meow meow meow. Oh, he doesn't want to be here. Oh,